All right, welcome to another Poppa Paints. I'm Poppa, if you didn't already know. My real name is Larry, but I'm Poppa because I have a grandson who calls me Poppa. I just thought it'd be fun to have a channel called Poppa Paints. So today we're going to paint on Procreate, which is on an iPad. And I want to show you how I painted this picture here. It's a, let me get that focused. It looks like it's out of focus. There, it's hockey players. And it's very impressionistic. If you look at it, you can see the brush strokes. And I did that, of course, intentionally. The two reasons: I just like impressionism, so I guess that's one reason. And the second reason is because with sports especially, or anything that's got motion, impressionism seems to really give it the effect of animation when it's a still picture. So let me turn this off and show you how I did this right now. Okay, so let me show you how I would paint a digital painting of hockey players. So what I did was I went on YouTube and I found a hockey game, a video, and I did some screenshots. And this is one of the screenshots that I got. It's a game between the Canadian team and the US team. I think it was the Olympics, I'm not really sure. But what I wanted was, what I liked about this shot, because most of the shots that the coverage was getting was from up in the bleachers, a higher vantage point. But I wanted the shots from the cameramen who were down at the side of the rink. And so I had to wait a lot. And so every time I saw one, I did a quick screenshot. And then I just went through about 20 of them or so and found one that I liked, which was this one. What I like is this man here and this man here. What I don't like is that they're both in the same uniform. So I'm going to change his uniform and keep his Canadian, okay? Now I'm not going to try to create a likeness of these two players. I'm not trying to represent them personally. I'm basically trying to create an impressionistic view, or an impressionistic representation, how about that, of hockey, of hockey, in the sport in general. Okay, so this is my 18 by 24 inch canvas, my art area. I set it for 18 by 24. I have it at 300 dpi, dots per inch. Let me show you. Here's the canvas information. So you see right here in the dimensions, hopefully you can see this, 5400 pixels by 7200 pixels, 18 inches by 24 inches, 300 dpi. I like 300 dpi because it's very rich, very high resolution, and can be the final JPEG or PNG or whatever format you want to save it as, can be expanded, you know, a little bit beyond the 18 by 24, and it still won't look pixelated. It'll look nice. This setting that I have gives me a maximum of 9 layers, which is more than enough. And so let's just begin with this. So I'm going to use the dry brush, and here it is right here. It's under painting, and it's the dry brush. And I'm going to put a background. I think I'll kind of make it like an unsaturated turquoise green, like that. That's what I want to work with. Okay, so let's start with this player here. Let's start with him. What I want to do is, on the first layer, I'm going to grab some black, because that seems to be the color of his helmet, and I'm going to just try to scrub in the shape of his helmet. Scrubbing is what I say when I'm doing this, when I don't lift the stylus. Now here's how you undo that. So doing with strokes is like this. You do one stroke at a time. So I'm probably not going to keep the camera on the whole time I do this, because I know it's going to take me a while. So I'll show you the time-lapse version that Procreate saved for me. But I want to show you how I got started on this, and then I'll give you some narration over the time-lapse. But anyway, so for here, now we want to do his face color. It looks somewhere around here, I guess. Maybe a little bit lighter. And I'm just gonna draw in his face, just the shape of it, nothing big. Now we're gonna take that red uniform. Looks like it's pretty dark for the most part. And you see how the shoulders come up to his the upper part of his cheek. They're aligned with the upper part of his cheek. Okay, there we go. And we're just trying to get the idea in here. Now we're going to get this light white, that part of his shirt, and he's got a dark glove, hockey glove. Let me get some more of that white. This is all just laying in the rough work. We'll go ahead and try and put in a little bit of that maple leaf so I don't forget it. And let's see, make some thin lines here. I just want to show you basically how I would start the sketch. Now down here we have his pants. It looks like his legs go like that. Now the difference between scrubbing and doing brush strokes is noticeable in the time-lapse, because when you scrub it, it recognizes it as one stroke, and so that's one frame of the time-lapse. And we don't want to lift it, because I like the idea of the scrubbing. The scrubbing is a look I like, but at the same time it kind of interferes with demonstrations for the time-lapse purposes, because if I do lots of these little strokes, then it's going to have lots of frames. If I do one stroke that takes me, a few seconds, that's going to speed up the time-lapse. So the time-lapse is going to probably be very quick, since I'm using the scrubbing technique. But what I really want to do here, what's more important than any of that, that's just technical stuff, I guess, but what's more important than any of that is to do this as impressionistic. Why? Because impressionism has this incredible way of showing or making it seem like you're looking at action. It looks animated. It looks like it's very active. Putting things on his head. He's got another, down here there's another glove that's blending in with his pants. Let me get some more of that red, that dark red. Put it on his lower sock there. I think it needs to be darker than that. There we go. And everything is here just to kind of lay it out and give me a rough idea of where I want to go with this. I feel like I didn't make him quite as big as I probably should have. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to distort it a little bit. I'm going to stretch him out and get it a little bit wider. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now you see we got the rough, very rough thing. His hockey stick is, let's see, make it small here. It goes from there to there, so just kind of do a line here, just so we don't forget where it is. And there's his hockey stick. We'll work with that later. So now let's go closer to his face. We don't want to do his face, but we do want to make it look like a face. So what I want to do here is I want to take some of these darker tones here. Here we go. And some of his neck is showing here. Oh, also, I want to get these reflections in the helmet. Let me sample some of the color I've already used. Okay, let's get some of this darker red in here around his neck. It looks like there's some dark here where his shirt comes down to a V. Some more white areas on here. There we go. Now we want to get this very dark red here. And go ahead and put that in there. And again, get this very light white here. So what we're doing is we're building on what we see and what we know, so that we have an impressionistic view. I want to put some lighter areas here in the red. So let's get some, maybe even some orange might work better. There we go. And you see his shoulder goes out over there. So we want to put that there. Get some of that deeper red. Okay. So this is just going to be a process of doing this over and over. But you can see already a very rough. Let me get rid of the reference photo. You can see a very rough sketch of the hockey player. What I want to do is now double him. I'll show you what a trick makes it much richer, and just merge those two together. And now I have one. Now what I will do next is I'll show you this in the time lapse. But the next one I would do is this other guy here, this guy. And I would do him on a separate layer. See? Now, I don't want him to be in the same uniform. I want him to be in the USA uniform, which is a dark blue, and they have a white helmet. So I will do him, and I'll put him in a separate layer so that I can toy with it a little bit, move it behind, move it in front. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. And then, of course, the final thing would be the crowd in the background, the people in the stands. And so let's switch over now to the time lapse, and I'll narrate that for you. Okay. All right, now we're in the time lapse. Well, you already saw this part as I did it in real time. So the time lapse, of course, records everything, and it's, as I mentioned, when you scrub in the brush strokes, it takes it as one frame from the time lapse. And so this is the part I started to do, and now you can see that I used some white for the hockey stick, and I will get closer to his face, etc. What doesn't happen in the time lapse is it doesn't zoom in as it would in the real time, so you just have to kind of bear with me. So there I am. I'm sketching in the second guy. Now that's on a second layer, And what I did was I first used the colors that were there from the Canadian team, and then I went and found a photograph of the uniform for the USA team, and I was able to alter the color. Now you can see I'm messing with the sizes of the two players. I'm messing with the hockey stick, and see I'm trying to place them. So I put the American player behind the Canadian player and brought him down in size and pushed him back a little bit so that it looks like they're both struggling to get to that puck in the front. And wow, time-lapse is really moving quickly on this one. So you can see I've already scrubbed in the ice and the edge of the arena, and now I'm scrubbing in sketching in whatever, the painting in, if you will, the crowd. And the crowd is really, to be honest, nothing more than a mass of different colors of their shirts and the teams they're supporting, and then their complexions. So it's a very simple thing to do. I don't know if I'll do another. So this took a long time to do. It doesn't seem like it because of the time lapse, but it did. I think you would have been super bored to watch for 3 hours. This is probably what it took. But anyway, in a nutshell, if you are watching to learn how to use Procreate, and by the way, some of these same techniques are applicable to in traditional art, in actual painting. Not all of them. Some of them are unique to the digital world, but and this is me just changing some of the contrast. I wanted to pull them out a little bit more, so I made the audience or the crowd a little bit darker, and then pulled them out in that way. Oh my gosh, this went so fast. I didn't realize that the time lapse was going to go so fast. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with the next one. Thank you.